Kris, that's the wrong lizard.
Look, I don't know what to tell you, man. This is orange. My Godzilla hat, it's green.
You can't just swap Charmander for Godzilla.
I'm working with what I have, dude. You're the one who put me on a stupid green screen.
The internet's gonna be so mad at you.
Well, that's my secret, Brett. The internet's always mad at me. When kaijus collide, you know you're in for a badass blockbuster experience. And Godzilla, King of the Monsters, looks like it will not disappoint. With over 30 films, 3 series, and 34 video game appearances, there's a lot of ground to cover when it comes to this scaly monster. If you love these movies as much as I do, you're definitely going to want to hear all about Godzilla's origins, abilities, and these formidable foes trying to come for his place on the monster throne. What's up, guys? I'm Kris Carr, and today I'm giving you a crash course in Godzilla. Before we take on this beastie, I want to give a big ol' shout out to our super nerd sponsor of the day, Ronnie M. Thanks to you fine citizens of the internet like Ronnie, we're able to shoot another day. If you want to help, check out our Patreon page and see which donation tier works best for you. We'll thank you with shout-outs, behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, and more. If you can't donate, remember, liking, sharing, and subscribing are awesome ways to show us some love. All right, because we're talking about kaiju and Japanese culture, you know what that means. Noodle Queen is back. Tasteful nudes.
You just keep doing these so you can eat noodles?
Let me have this, Brett. Eating these nudes. Eating them now. Getting some snacks. Obviously, Godzilla's been around for a long time. His iconography is equal to his stature. So, with that in mind, this isn't going to be a comprehensive dive. You want to dish something more about this guy? Then you let me know down below. Throughout the films, Godzilla has been able to breathe underwater and is described as a beast in a transitional form that lies somewhere between that of a marine creature and a terrestrial reptile. Godzilla is immune to most conventional weaponry, able to regenerate thanks to surviving the nuclear fallout, and his signature screech and atomic heat beam pretty much shows up across the board. Film, shows, games, and comics have thrown in additional powers here and there like atomic pulses, magneto-like abilities, fireballs, super speed, laser eyes, and even flight. Godzilla first appeared in the 1954 film Gojira, directed by Ishiro Honda. Gojira is a mix of gorilla, and Kujira, whale, and was later changed to Godzilla for English-speaking audiences.
Godzilla.
We call him Godzilla.
In the aftermath of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, there was a widespread fear of radiation and its potential long-term effects. This is an incredibly influential and prominent factor in the development of Godzilla and the world. This post-war world had already witnessed the immediate and short-term effects of radiation as they were clearly visible. One rip from the headlines after effect that was put in the film and inspired Tanaka, the creator of Godzilla, was a tuna boat called Lucky Dragon 5. Now, Lucky Dragon 5 became contaminated by the nuclear fallout from the United States Castle Bravo thermonuclear test back in March of '54. Whole islands were contaminated, and folks were terrified that they had possibly consumed compromised seafood. This inspired Tanaka to irradiate his monster to play into the cultural fear. Tanaka took this fear even further. People who'd not been spared from radiation poisoning would become known as hibakusha, which basically translates to bomb-affected person. This was an all-encompassing term to cover a slew of symptoms relative to bomb exposure. From radiation sickness, to scars, to undiagnosed issues due to social prejudice. These people would be shunned by society. Godzilla is a giant hibakusha. Even his skin was designed to be reminiscent of radiation scarring. He's a reminder of the dangers of radiation, the transformative properties of atomic weaponry, and a dangerous example of when humanity interferes with the natural balance. The character Godzilla and the first film served to reflect the Japanese experience post-World War II. The films, as they've continued to be produced, have a strong through line: nature versus technology. What happens when mankind just can't mind its own goddamn business? Technology can awake the slumbering beast or create it. The original film had Godzilla hell-bent on destroying Tokyo. He served as a symbol of destruction, hubris, and international conflict. A punishment. I feel this first film served as a cautionary tale about what happens under Western interference and a nation betraying its cultural roots. Obviously, over the years, our lizard has transitioned into a guardian for humanity. You guys know that Godzilla was made their mascot of tourism in like 2016.
Yes.
Isn't that weird though?
It's awesome.
Well, he's the guardian.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes. After that first film, the franchise decidedly embraced the camp, often toggling back and forth between more serious films and lighthearted fare. The Godzilla franchise features the most consecutive films of any ongoing movie series. As I mentioned, there have been 30 Godzilla movies released to date, with 28 of them being Japanese in origin, and 2 being American-made reimaginings of the character. Over the years, Godzilla fans have categorized these Japanese eras of films in the following ways. The Showa era, which covers the 15 films released from 1954 to 1975. Most of these are fun, outlandish, classic Godzilla films that many people grew up on watching in drive-ins and movie matinees. Creature features with loose continuity between the titles. Godzilla remains a villain throughout the first few movies, but starting in the mid-1960s, he's gradually transformed into a reluctant hero by challenging enemies that present a greater threat to humanity. The Heisei era encompasses the 7 films released between 1984 and 1995. These films attempted to restore Godzilla's stature as a fearsome, destructive nuclear menace. This series ignores all the past movies except for the 1954 original and uses it as a basis for a more serious continuing storyline of Godzilla films. The Millennium era covers 1999 through 2004. These films came after that warm fart on a toilet seat, the American TriStar Godzilla, and served to bring Godzilla back to that classic rubber-suited monster who became so iconic. Each of these 6 films are standalones. Lastly, we have the REIWA era, which takes us from 2016 to present day. This new chapter in the franchise includes films like Shin Godzilla, Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, Godzilla City: The Edge of Battle, and Godzilla the Planet Eater. Throughout the ages, though, the most central aspect of Godzilla remains: that humans are powerless. Humans are typically embracing their own weaknesses and depending on Godzilla. While the Japanese films refer to Godzilla in gender-neutral terms, Americans call Godzilla a he. Now, I hear those of you who watched the Matthew Broderick movie from '98. But Kris, he laid eggs. He did, thanks to parthenogenesis, a natural asexual means of reproducing. They screwed up a lot, but at least the science was right-ish. And let's be real, both Godzilla and Matthew Broderick killed people, so who's the first to cast stones here? In my humble opinion, and well, the opinion of tons of other folks, the last film redeemed American Godzilla movies. The writing, the filming style, they followed the Japanese formula and just brought a bigger budget. It serves as a genuine love letter to Godzilla and reintroduces Americans to the kaiju, warming them up for this latest film where Godzilla will serve as a guardian to humanity. And there's no Matthew Broderick! Which brings us to the monsters he's taking on in this latest installment. Now, Godzilla has had over 30 enemies over the years, so we'll just be focusing on some of the big bruisers we're expecting Godzilla to take on in King of the Monsters.
How many of these things are there?
17 and counting.
Let me know in the comments how I butchered all these Japanese words. Rodan! Rodan appeared originally in Rodan in 1956. This monster served as an allegory for the danger the Soviet Union posed and was created by Ken Kuronuma. This creature had the ability to fly at super speed and was super durable, and would occasionally possess other attacks like a uranium heat beam, radioactive mist, or an atomic heat ray. MOTHRA! Mothra's cute. Mothra originally appeared in MOTHRA in 1961, and she is a lady. She is usually portrayed as a moth, but can also be seen in her larva state. She has 2 miniature humanoids that accompany her and speak for her as well. Mothra is set as the champion of her islands and guardian of its culture. Mothra has ginormous wings that allow her to fly with great speed, has pointed sharp little legs she uses for fighting if necessary, has a thorax that emits beta wave bioluminescence that can blind others, and is often shown having a silk attack. This attack releases strong silk from her body and is shown to be strong enough to pin other kaiju to the sides of buildings. King Ghidorah originally appeared in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster in 1964. Ghidorah is often portrayed as an armless, bat-winged biped dragon with 3 heads. It was rumored that he was meant to represent the nuclear threat of China, but it's been stated that he's actually a modern take on Yamada no Orochi. Yamada no Orochi is a legendary 8-headed, 8-tailed Japanese dragon. Now, these are the confirmed monsters we'll be seeing, but it's also been leaked that additional non-Toho monsters' names were seen around set and will more than likely make their way into the film. The names that have been reported are Baphomet, Typhoon, Abaddon, Bunyip, Methuselah, and Kong. Kong is definitely worth noting since Godzilla vs. King Kong is slated for a 2020 release. Thanks to the trailer, we know we're getting at least 17 Titans in this one. I'm not sure if we'll actually see them all, but at least we know the franchise has plenty of monsters to duke it out in future films.
They're moving like a pack. They're hunting. They all respond directly to an alpha.
My body is ready. Of course, we're just scratching the surface here with Godzilla, so if there's something specific you want me to do a deep dive on, let me know down below.
Let them fight.
You have lit me on fire, my worthy opponent! Die at your feet! For more monsters, lore, and more, click to the left of my face, or you can check us out on Roku or Plex. Thanks again to our sponsors on Patreon, and thank you for watching. I'll see you, Space Cowboy. These noodles get all